Hi, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a June TBR. Now last month I went a little rogue and I read a lot of genres that I generally do not read. But this month we're going back to the tried and true, okay? We're heading back to fantasy, a little bit of historical fiction, because I know that I like that. And last month wasn't a disaster, but it also wasn't great. So we're gonna head back to what we know works. So the first book that I hope to read this month is The Vanished Days by Susanna Kearsley. Now this is the third book in the Slane's Scottish series. I really don't know what it's called. We're gonna go with both. I've seen it. I've seen it called both. So, but this is the third book. The first book, The Winter Sea, I read a couple of years ago, and The Firebird, the second book, I read last year, and I loved both of them. I loved both of them. I gave both of them 5 stars, and I loved them in 2 very completely different ways, but they were both good. So The Winter Sea was about, this is historical fiction with fantastical element. I don't know if that will carry over to this one, but so historical fiction, and it was about a girl called Sophia who in the early 1700s went to live in this castle in Scotland, and there she met this guy John who was a wanted Jacobite. And they ended up falling in love, but it was a forbidden romance because he was a wanted man. So if anybody found out that they were together, they would have used Sophia or tortured her to get to him. And it was so good. I was so obsessed with John and Sophia. Like, I absolutely loved them. So the third book, I actually don't know what it's about. I don't know if it is like kind of loosely related in a series just based on location, or if it's like legitimately a series in the sense that it's like the same characters. I have no idea. I'm really hoping for the latter because I would love to see a continuation of that family. But I don't know. I know it's going to be good though, because, well, I don't know it's going to be good actually, because last year, after I read The Firebird, I was like, oh my gosh, like I need to read more from this author. And I read like a handful of her other books and I didn't really like them. So, I mean, they weren't bad, but I was just not as into them as this series. So I'm hoping that this stays in the same vein as the series, the other 2 books. But I feel like I'll like it anyway, just because it takes place in Scotland and I love Scottish historical fiction, so hoping it will be good, hoping that it is somehow related to John and Sophia, but I feel like I'm going to enjoy it either way. The next book that I'm hoping to read this month is A Shadow in the Ember by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Oh my. Why do I do this to myself? So last year I read the Blood and Ash series. Well, I read the first 3. So I read From Blood and Ash, A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, and The Crown of Gilded Bones. And this book is the spin-off prequel series. So the first series is about this girl, Poppy, who is the maiden of her kingdom. So she's kind of put on like a pedestal. She's like the chosen one. But she doesn't really have much of a life because nobody's allowed to see her. Nobody's allowed to talk to her. She's not allowed to talk to anybody. And then she gets this new guard, Hawk, and he's like the only one that's allowed to see her and talk to her. And so they form like, there's a lot of banter, but they form like this relationship, and she starts to come to realize and find out the truth of what's really happening. And it's not at all like how she, you know, you get it. So I was absolutely obsessed with the first book, From Blood and Ash. So obsessed with it. Poppy and Hawk like had my heart, like loved it. The other 2 books, I liked them. and they were very quick reads. Like, they're long books. I mean, they're long books. But they were very quick reads. I enjoyed them, but I had a lot of problems with the last two. I had a lot of problems. Okay. Haven't even read the fourth one. Don't know if I'm going to, because I've seen spoilers and no. But I got this book before the fourth one came out. And this one is apparently supposed to be about like Poppy's family, Poppy's ancestors, something along those lines. I remember reading the synopsis and I thought it sounded really interesting. Will it actually turn out to be that? Who knows? But yeah, it's like a prequel series. But I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, I don't even know if I want to continue with the original series. And like, here I am reading the spin-off of this year. Like, what am I doing? Why am I investing in another story that, like, what am I doing? I don't understand. Why am I like this? I hope it's good, but I'm also scared because the original series went just like off the rails. So I'm like, you know, I want it to be good. I want to enjoy it, but I'm like, do I want to get invested in another part of this series when I know that it can go so wrong so quickly? I don't know. But yeah, we're gonna give it a shot. Okay. The next book I'm hoping to read this month is A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. This is the second book in the ACOTAR series. I read the first book, A Court of Thorns and Roses, last year. And, you know, I liked it. I think I gave it 4 stars. Here's the thing. Well, I guess maybe I should tell you what it's about. So this series, if you don't know, which I feel like everyone has read it, but if you don't know, it was about a girl called Feyre, and she was a human kind of living in a destitute situation with her father and her 2 sisters. And one day she goes out hunting and she kills what she thinks is a wolf, but it's actually a fae, and that's illegal. And so, if I remember correctly, it was basically like, I'll kill you and your family if you don't come to live with me forever in this fairyland. I don't know. I read it last year. I'm pretty sure that's what it's about. So she goes to live with this fae, Tamlin, and she's human in a fairyland. So, you know, it does not go well. It does not go well. Now, here's what I'll say about this. I liked the book. I really enjoyed it. But I thought that I was going into it spoiler free because I had no idea what was going to happen, like the actual plot points. All I knew were names and like who people shipped and who they didn't like. And I did not realize that that was going to be such a spoiler. And it was. So I didn't feel like I got the same reading experience of the first book as everyone else. So like I read it and like, you know, the reason I gave it 4 stars is because I never shipped Tamlin and Feyre. I thought Tamlin was a creep. Okay, that's what I remember. I was like, oh no. I liked Rhysand. There were some questionable things going on, but I liked him. And I remember finishing the first book and being like, gosh, I really hope that the second book is literally just Feyre's time in the Night Court. And apparently that was not the opinion that you were meant to have. Like, I legitimately feel like you were supposed to ship Tamlin and Feyre, and I just never did. I never liked him. I thought he was a creep from the start. Like, I didn't trust him. So yeah, was spoiled without knowing that I was spoiled, I guess. But apparently this book is like everyone's favorite in the series, at least from my understanding. So I'm excited for this one. I'm very excited. Yeah. And then the last book that I'm hoping to read this month is Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I really don't know anything about this other than it is a fantasy. I know no plot points. I know no character names. I don't know if people liked this series or if they didn't. I know that it's relatively popular, obviously, because I had heard of it. Which is why I got it, but I don't really know anything about it. It's the first in this series, and I am not gonna do like I did with Throne of Glass because I believe that there is like a prequel book, novella, I don't know. And I was like, no, I'm gonna read them in order of publication. Like, I'm not going down that road again. No. I'm not gonna do myself dirty like that. So yeah, so I'm gonna read Red Queen first. No idea what it's about. Hope that it's good. You know, as I do going into things that I have absolutely no idea. So yeah, those are the books that I'm hoping to read in June. Like I said, going back to my roots, a lot of fantasy, some historical fiction. I've got a few actually that are part of a series or like a spin-off of a series. So yeah, I'm hoping there'll be much more like comfort reads because I'm familiar with the story. I'm gonna have a lot of rereading to do. I feel like I'm gonna have to skim a lot of previous books to remember what happened, but I'm excited. So thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you feel so inclined. That would make me so happy. And I'll probably include a clip of Kate and Lucy. And yeah, see you next time. Bye.
Yay! Come on, Lucy.